Shalom. I want to start by giving all praise to Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahushai, Baruch Kodash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us the scriptures, among other things, and salutation to Yakim across the earth for doing his work in sincerity and in truth. Shalom. So, as you can see, I want to go in this title, in this news article, because we're heading this, the 4th of May. And in Holland, they always think about the Second World War, the First and the Second World War, and talk about the small heads, the Amalekites, that so-called died, during the hologram, which is a bunch of bollocks. Anyway, bullshit. Talking about that Cyclone B, it was not a gas, it's a substance, and. But yeah, there's a lot of bullshit, and they talking about like that there were 6 million of those small heads killed. But if you only look at the so-called Indians, the northern tribes of Israel, that's already 60 million. So not even looking at the so-called Negroes that they've been murdering over the years during the slavery. And after that, because now you got the king, the peasant king, the so-called king of Holland. I made a video about that, so-called investigating what his part of his family was, what the part of his family was concerning slavery. While he used to be parading in a golden couch with slaves painted on, and don't forget, I did videos on that. These Edomites, they were the first one that brought a slave ship from the west coast of Africa to America. So they were the first one that started with that shit, and they were also the last one that started with that shit. Of all the Edomites, of course, all the Edomites had us in captivity. They all been doing shit. Don't forget about Denmark, Finland, Sweden, those countries, because a lot of times they stay out of shot, but they also been had us in captivity. They also took part in the slave trade. But as Edomites from Holland, they were the last one to stop with slavery. While the other Edomites stops with slavery, when they did stop, the Dutch people, they continued for at least another 10 years. Okay, so that shows you the spirit. So now I got this article. So tomorrow is the 4th of May. Yeah, I'm in the island, so I'm in a different time zone. But in Holland, I think it's already the 4th of May. Yeah, it's already there. There's almost, how do you say that? Yeah, there it is, almost 6 o'clock in the morning. So, and now they want to talk about more attention for other wars, And it's funny because, this mayor of Amsterdam, Halsema, she started with the so-called apologizing for the part that the city of Amsterdam had in, had in slavery. But it's funny because, you can do this and that and play all you want. But, don't forget, Holland, the Netherlands, they have a big part. They have a big part, concerning slavery. So she so-called made her apologize, then they wanted to make her walk that route that slaves had to do on a plantation. I don't remember exactly the name of the plantation. So they want to bind her and give her the experience because that's what they do there. But she refused that. But yeah, nevertheless, the scriptures are very clear. You are going into captivity. Whether you like it or not, it's gonna happen, Although it tarry, it will happen. You're gonna be put in chains and shackles, and you ain't gonna like it. You ain't gonna like it. But it's gonna happen. The scriptures are very clear about it. Let me jump real quick to the book of Psalms. Was it 149 if I'm correct? Let me check it out real quick. Yes. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 149 and verse 5. Let the saints be joyful in glory. And the saints is talking about the children of Israel, so-called Negros, Latinos, and the so-called Indianos. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praise of Yahweh be in their mouth and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishment upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written, this honor have all his saints, praise ye Yahweh. So it will happen. And you might be screaming like, yeah, I didn't do nothing, this and that. Well, the slaves didn't do nothing against y'all either, you know. But you will capture us, you know, with the help of the Hamites, catching our people, you know, put them, you know, already mistreating them over there, then pack them on ships, you know, all on top of each other, shitting on each other, throwing up on each other, you know, dying, dead bodies, laying with dead bodies, you know. All those things our people went through. But you don't want to talk about that. As soon as somebody talks about slavery, then it's talked about, it's the past, it's a long time ago, what do you want, this and that, you shouldn't get over this. But if you say something about these small heads, you know, then they delete your channel, or you get a fine, you know, if you be on television, whatever, you know, you can say nothing against these small heads. Unless you are one of the producers of South Park, then you can say everything. But yeah, that's also a video that I want to make in the future, very soon, concerning one episode where they basically plain, not basically, they're just plain saying it and showing it, that the so-called Negroes, you know, in that episodes they show that the so-called Negroes are the two children of Israel, but it's the so-called Negroes, the Latinos, and the so-called Indianos, you know, the 12 tribes, the northern and the southern tribes, you know. So nevertheless, this article, it's funny. Oh yeah, I was about to grab a scripture in Isaiah. Let me see. It's the book of Isaiah. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, and verse 21. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. So prepare slaughter. So it doesn't say, let's make a party and everybody's going to be saved. No, prepare slaughter. So, you know, you're going to get it anyway. You can try what you want, you know. But yeah, although it tarry, it will happen. Let me see. Yeah. So back to the article. So now it is more attention for other wars on the May 4. But concerning slavery, people be complaining, you know, because you had Halsema, you know, made her apologize for on behalf of the city of Amsterdam and for all the mayors that were before her, blah 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 blah. Then you had Mark Rutte, came with an apologize, which was not an apologize. He basically just, you know, his speech, you know, he was basically just how I said it, calling it, you know, didn't want to say that it was a bad thing, slavery. You know, he said that things that we did with people, that's what he said in his speech, you know, we is something that we nowadays would see as something bad. So he didn't want to say that it was something bad that they had done with our people. That's why the scriptures are very clear. Reward her double. You know, the scriptures are very clear. All these heathens gonna get it, man. Matter of fact, let me see. The book of Obadiah. Yeah, let me jump to that. Let me see. So this is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 15. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. thy reward shall return upon thy own head. So, name me one nation that didn't do anything against the children of Israel, or was making his money because that we were in a position that we are right now, because we're depending on all the people, man. And right now I'm staying on the island of Curaçao, and it's horrible to see. And I know it's in Suriname it's the same thing. You know, the local people, they don't own nothing. You know, they don't own these businesses. You see Edomites, you know. Let me read the scripture first. This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 10. What nation had not a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? Yeah, because that's the case. You know, all these heathens are I say that, are profiting of the fact that we are at the bottom. You know, so on the island, for example, like I said, you know, you got all these mini markets owned by Chinese people. They got hardware stores, all kinds of stores they got. And what they do, they keep the money into themselves. They got their restaurants, you know, they gonna buy the things at their own, with their own people, you know. And, you know, so you got the Chinese that got a lot of stores. You got the coolies, you know. Which was also a funny thing that happened today, you know. I had to buy some, you know, because here on the island, you know, it's better to buy, if you are here, it's better to buy a SIM card with some with a lot of data on it, because to call is already very expensive here. So it's better, you know, so then you can stay in contact with your people. And yeah, in my case, you know, for uploading a video. So the fun part was, you know, the data was finished, so I went to get a new SIM card. And the first spot that I saw, um, yeah, the first spot that I saw, they didn't sell. They were only selling from other brand. Then the second store that I went was owned by coolies. You know, I saw those coolies, so-called pakis. You know, I saw the coolies there, so I already was like, yeah, I don't really like them, but yeah. So I asked them if they had the card, and they said, you know, and normally the card is like the Antillean Guilder is 25 guilders, and this dude told me like it's 30, you know. And I was in a big shopping mall, and he told me it was 30. But I knew, you know, because when I entered, you know, I passed by a supermarket, and I asked Jake, who was working there, you know, who was busy with the strollers. So I asked him like if they got if they sell it, you know, of the brand of the SIM card, and he told me no, there's a store from themselves, you know, they got a mini store where you can buy the SIM card. So I was walking and I saw a phone store, and I asked him, and this Paki told me like, yeah, the thing is 30 Antillean guilders. So I told him like, 30, are you sure? The thing is normal 25. And then he said, no, here it is 30. I looked at them, were like, okay, it's good, have a nice day. I'm going to check it over there because I know they sell it, you know. So I went there. So I kept on walking, and then I came to another store. There was a Spanish dude working, and so I asked him for the card, and he had the normal price there, only a couple of meters further. So he had the normal price, which was 25 Antillean guilders, and how you say that? So I bought the card over there, and then I started walking, and then I saw a small, you know, like a small, yeah, how you call that? Like a small tent, you know, place, small market. Yeah, it's not really a marketplace, like a one person store, you know, like a pop-up store or something. I don't know how to call it, but it was a small thing of the brand where I bought the SIM card for. But you know, I already had it for the normal price, so it was no problem. But the thing was, you know, with the story, is that the Pakis, you know, you see you see people from outside of the island, you know, they have stores, you know, but their own people, they don't have nothing. And if some Jake starts something, they are ready to take him down, you know. But yeah, that's part of the curses, the hate, you know, like the book of Deuteronomy said, you know, the evil eye against your brother, you know. But yeah, so these Edomites, you know, they want to put more. Let me go back to the article, kind of drifting, But yeah, these Edomites, they want to go. I said they want to give more attention for other wars on the May of 4. So let me just read the article. So on May 4, and also another thing, this sodomite, this broken wrist creature from Ukraine also arrived in Holland, you know. But yeah, back to the article. On May 4th, besides the Second World War, more attention should also be paid to other wars. This is the opinion of 59% of those served yet in the annual National Freedom Survey. Last year it was 53%. And it's funny because they're pushing it to the max because the new generation, they ain't buying it, you know. And they also, you know, they also had, you know, the so-called Anne Frank house, and there was, they said they got the dude, they arrested the dude in Poland. You know, he was projecting, you know, people, they were projecting lyrics on the Anne Frank house, and they talked about that she might have a ballpoint, you know, and that was only invented after the war, you know. And then they said, as a response, they said, yeah, it might be from somebody who was investigating the diary of Anne Frank, and that he left some marks of a ball pen, you know, which makes no sense. It's a bogus story. If you got something that is so called so important, you ain't gonna make notes, write things down in it with a pen, you know. So it's a story that smells like ish. But back to the article. So on May 4, besides the Second World War, more attention should also be paid to other wars. And it's funny that at the start this year, they feel like more attention should be on other wars. Yeah, we already know it's all about Ukraine this and that, you know. But fuck those people also, you know, because they hate Jake anyway. So yeah, fuck them. This opinion of 59% of those surveyed in the annual National Freedom Survey. Last year it was 53%. 78% moderate all Dutch war victims of the Second War and victims of other wars during peacekeeping operations. Yeah, whatever. Edomite and peacekeeping. In 2022, 73% of people did. The war in Ukraine, yeah, doesn't surprise me, eh? The war in Ukraine played a role in the freedom inquiry, yeah, because now what's happening to Ukraine, that's world news, you know. That's the horrible thing, the horriblest thing that have ever happened to any nation. Yeah. So they skip over slavery for that nonsense, you know. For that BS. For example, almost a third of the respondents say that they are afraid of a conflict in which the Netherlands will become involved. Well, it will happen. The third world war is it's about to come. It will come. The year before that was still 8%, according to the National Committee for May 4 and 5. The reason to reflect on May 4 have not changed very much. However, more people are afraid that something like the Second World War could happen again. Yeah, of course you're afraid, because y'all been. Don't forget these Edomites, you know, especially those from America. They've been all over the world, creating so-called fighting for peace. You know, stealing stuff, getting countries, putting countries in debt, and this and that. You know, but yeah, hey, vengeance is around the corner. You know, scriptures are very clear. Avenge not yourself; I will repay, said the Lord. Romans, what's that? Chapter 1 and 19, if I'm correct. So let me see. However, more people are afraid that something like the Second World War could happen again. Yeah, of course. You should be afraid, very afraid. You know, we're gonna reward you double. The fear is more often mentioned this year as a reason for both the national commemoration and the celebration on May 5. These results can probably be explained by the invasion of Russia in Ukraine, writes the May 4 and 5 National Committee. two-thirds, the two-thirds agreed with the statement, our freedom is being less and less self-evident. In the previous year, these percentages were 57%, 54%, and 49% in 2020. For the older generation, freedom was not self-evident. Committee Chairman Wim van Donk told Trouw in the war in Ukraine also shows the younger generation that freedom, democracy, and the rule of law are under pressure. Like the Edomite ever keeps, they make the laws, but they keep their own laws, man. Day of Freedom support for the commemoration on May 4 remains high. 85% of the respondents says they consider it important, and as for May 5th, more than 3/4 says they also consider Liberation Day very important. That percentage is the same as last year. I'm very curious what they're gonna do on this island, because the people be cooning here. Because when you had the so-called King's Day going on, we went out to teach, and people, they were cooning here, man. So yeah, I'm kind of expect that. Furthermore, more than half of the respondents would not think it a bad idea to change the name of May 5 to the Day of Freedom, to put more emphasis on freedom in general, on democracy and human rights, yeah, which is gonna be less and less. Freedom is gonna be less and less. Democracy doesn't understand, and human rights, they being violated every day. More than 1,200 people took part in a survey commissioned by the National Committee for 4 and 5 May at the beginning of this year. According to the committee, this was a representative reflection of the Dutch population aged 16 and older. Because, the younger generations, they ain't buying that shit, They be like, man, it's not true. It can't be like that. Let me see. This is, so they are bigging this up, but concerning what our people went through, still have to go through, that's something that's not that important, So this is the book of Psalms, chapter 73, verse 8. They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak lawfully. Yeah. So that's what they do. As soon as you talk about slavery, man, not that BS again. But yeah, concerning Ukraine, other countries, so-called, the other wars. Oh yes, man. It has to be a big thing. But it's funny, man. So they want to push this Holocaust thing, which is so-called. If you go by that story, it's like yeah. I said it. 6 million people died, got killed, murdered, whatever. But yeah, if you only look at the so-called Indians, that's already 60 million. So yeah. They got double standards, It's nonsense. I was thinking about scripture. Yeah, but the thing is, I had the scripture in mind, but it flew away. But the thing is, hand joining and the wicked shall not go unpunished. They're gonna get it, man. They're gonna get it. They still be partying and stuff, but they're gonna get it, man. It's a matter of time. The most I won't forget. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna leave it like that. So with that, I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahushai, Warukah Kudash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us the scriptures, among other things, and salutations to Akim across the earth for doing his work in sincerity and in truth. So with that, I'm gonna say Shalom.